All right. Here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Yay. Good morning, Peter.
Morning, Bill. Hello,
We're
everybody.
off, we're off of our scheduled time this morning. It's a Saturday morning instead of a Thursday morning, which happens on occasion. So we are going to record and live stream podcast number 399. And the title of that podcast, or the title of this podcast, is To Creative Real Estate Rookies Who Want a Deal but Can't Get One. Here's a description. Feeling like you chase creative real estate deals and never seem to get one? Listen up, because this podcast episode could crush those roadblocks and get you a winning deal within 30 days from now. Plus, expect to hear hidden seller motivation no one else is talking about until now. You deserve an edge like this to get a deal. What if you could get revealed to Insider Playbook moves? Would you listen then? This is your opportunity. Stop feeling powerless. Learn how to leverage creative real estate deals starting today. These actionable strategies equip anyone who dares to make huge chunks of dough now, cash flow monthly, and a retirement portfolio for later. Plus, expect us to avoid hype and fluff. Instead, get direct speak so you can decide immediately if this is for you or not. You deserve to break free. So why not find out how today? What's really up with getting a deal? Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
All right. So,
you know what part I heard most in there? Because I represent the rookies and the listeners. You deserve to be free. As soon as you say you, I listen. Like, what about me? Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
So I just looked at myself on camera. I'm all red and sweaty. My hair is soaking wet. I was out working before I got here this morning. I was out mopping floors.
Wow.
Yeah, I do things like that. All right. So let's do some housekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
So we record this podcast on Thursday mornings, 9:30 a.m. usually. Today is one of the unusual occasions where we're doing it on Saturday morning. If you want to be part of the podcast, we live stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So you can go to one of those platforms, type in Flipping Houses for Rookies, find our live stream at the time we are live. And wherever they allow you to type, you can put your questions there. And I will see them on my screen as soon as you do that. However, if you give us a question that is not part of the podcast, I won't be able to answer it because we have an agenda with the podcast and we have limited time. Although we are longer than most podcasts, I know that we're an hour, a little over an hour and 5 minutes most of the times. And most podcasts are between 20 minutes and 30 minutes. That's because I'm not here to entertain you. The other podcasts are just entertaining you. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm actually trying to help you. I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to give you insights. And it's hard to believe, isn't it, Peter, that we've had 399 podcasts on creative real estate.
Yeah, completely.
It's hard to believe we could find different topics. And other than the strategies, the 7 core strategies we use, we don't really repeat anything. I don't think. I try not to anyways. We talk about the same stuff, but we just come at it from different angles.
Exactly.
So my job in this podcast is not to get you to change what you're doing. That's a coach's job. You have to be in my coaching group to do that. My job is to kind of get you to change your thinking a bit about how all these strategies work and give you different ideas and come at the same idea from different angles. You know, and
Yeah.
get you to cognite or realize or have an epiphany or an aha moment like, oh my God, that could be simple, because it is at the end of the day. It is really at the end of the day, especially if you're doing our slot deal and our lease options and our options. Those deals are fairly easy. I mean, you could have one of those deals within the next 30 days, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Hmm.
Okay. Also, if you have a question for us and it's a private question, you could go into flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right hand side, there's a support ticket, and you can send us a personal ticket, or you can go to WhatsApp Messenger. Uh, let's talk real estate. Okay, so Pete, today I thought we would start off with something that is near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
But before I do that, I want you to know that usually the way these podcasts are set up is we talk a little bit of theory in the beginning so you know what we're talking about. And at the end, we do all the actionable ideas.
Hmm.
So I have a list of, I don't know how many it is. I was actually going to name the podcast that, but I changed my mind. It looks like I have a list of 7 things you could do if you're not getting a deal.
Cool.
It's like a little blueprint, checklist, whatever. And that's
Mm.
towards the end of the podcast. So we will go over that. But what I wanted to talk about, because the first part of this is really about me, not you or any of the listeners, but it will tie in, I promise. So it's my dry English humor of entertaining people, but it's not really entertainment because it really happens to me. But I'm going to tell you a story about me. So I like to help people. You know that. You
That's
of all
true.
people know that. I like to help people.
Absolutely. In lots of ways, not just real estate, lots of ways.
Yeah, I definitely have a button or a passion or a strong desire to help others.
Hmm.
Right? It's just in my nature, I guess. Right? And I'm not talking about helping people. Like, I'm talking about like honestly helping people. Right? I mean, there are times where I do philanthropy, not much, to my dear friends. I do it when most people don't know about it. With money. I do it with all kinds of things. I'm much like my dad. God rest his soul. He's passed away about a year and a half ago. He was a very loyal man. He was not educated, and he was a bit like Archie Bunker, but he was loyal. Okay, and I didn't realize until pretty much after he passed how much I was like him in those respects. Um, So I don't mean like helping people like in my leisure time, like on Thanksgiving going to the soup kitchen and helping. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like hardcore helping people. I'm not talking about like when the mood strikes me, you know. In fact, some of my worst losses in my career have stemmed from helping people.
Mm.
And I'm talking about bankruptcy twice. And it stemmed from helping people and being loyal to the wrong people.
Right.
You know what I mean? My
Yeah.
loyalty was blinded by I was trying to help and I was trying to do my part and I was trying to take responsibility for what I was doing, and it ended up costing me bankruptcy. It's in total it's probably half to $750,000 it cost me to do this. So I'm not talking about something very light here. I'm not talking about helping a little old lady across the street. I'm talking about businesses, helping people, and getting involved in endeavors that I shouldn't have gotten involved in because I was trying to help someone.
Yeah.
The strange thing is, and you know that because you've known me for 25 years and you've seen me
Hmm.
go up and down.
Hmm.
Strange thing is that I'm 60 years old and I'm still trying to help others. I
Yeah,
haven't learned my lesson.
well, I bet you're better at telling who the people are that you should work with and shouldn't work with, trust or not trust. I'm sure you're
Well,
better at that part.
I definitely go into relationships a little bit slower for sure.
Well, some people are really good liars, so you got to watch.
Yeah. So you would think that this was my Achilles heel or my main weakness if you were to view me from the outside. But if you know me just a little bit, and if you've listened to several of these podcasts, you know me a little bit. I have a short circuit on failing or losing. Now, Peter, you again, I keep relying on you. I'm not letting you talk much, but you
Mhm.
are aware of that, right? I mean,
Yeah. No, I see that. 'Cause, I mean, to me, the one thing about you is, you can be intelligent or not, and you can have fierce drive and stamina and dynamic energy or not. And we all know people that have a little bit of that and not much of that. But whatever you know or don't know, you have drive and energy and you just don't stop. If something doesn't work, you go, let's do this, let's do that.
right,
And you're fearless in that way,
right.
more
I
than
hear that a
I.
lot. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear that a lot.
more than
My
I.
coach tells me the same thing. He
Yeah.
just told that to me yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Hmm.
18 minutes he went on about
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's my 18 seconds. End of story.
Yeah,
But that's an important fact, and you do your best with the knowledge and the wisdom we can acquire, and implement it, but with like courage.
thank you. And that's for a reason, because I hang on to the loss for a short amount of time.
Mm,
I don't hang on to it for a long time. And the way I handle it is sooner or later, I start asking myself, what is the lesson in this?
yes.
What did I learn from this loss or this pain or this travail or this thing that happened?
Yep.
What can I learn from that? How can I use that? And then it rejuvenates me and keeps me
Mm,
going, right?
hmm.
And every once in a while I get a lesson or two, right? That the loss or failure melts away and a new door opens, right? A new door opens for me. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I go bankrupt, right? $270,000,
Okay.
right? And I sit in that, right? And I dwell on it, and I'm like, I'm such a loser, all the invalidative things you tell yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
you're just a piece of crap at that point, right?
Yeah.
Until you start looking at it like, what did I learn from this? What did I do wrong? What should I not do the next time?
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, when you start like coming up the scale, up closer to happy instead of sad,
Yeah.
right? You're kind of like as if it was a scale and you're going up the scale. Sooner or later, another door opens, and it's like, because see, the universe does not like a vacuum, right?
Hmm.
So I tell my kids all the time, it's going to fill it in. Like a vacuum is nothing there. It's just a void space, nothing in it. It's just blank, right? And the universe
Yep.
doesn't like that. It's kind of like water, you know. Water does not like. I mean, when water goes somewhere, it goes everywhere, right? You're muted.
Yeah. It doesn't like a low spot.
A low spot, yeah.
If there's a low
God
spot,
bless you.
it'll show up.
God bless you, by the way. So, anyways, I'm droning on this for a specific reason.
Hmm.
Okay. So, all I was trying to make is that when you go through the losses, that's part of the process because it makes you bigger, which means that if your universe or what you're controlling is, let's say, a 6-inch circle, and you have a loss and you push yourself, and all of a sudden that universe is an 8-inch circle. What's going to happen at first is that extra 2 inches that you added to the circle are unfamiliar territory, so all kinds of weird shit's going to happen. So the thing that
Yeah.
you need to do is keep putting order in, because as the confusion comes in, because you're going to have confusion because there's new things in your world that you're not aware of, you need to keep putting order in and keep doing it and doing it and doing it until you figure out that other 2 inches, like you understood the 6 inches, and you will be bigger,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
So so the reason why I'm telling all this, and I spent the last couple of minutes telling you this, is not to bore you or drone on about my life. But one of the biggest reasons I always failed with helping others, and why almost 97% of all creative real estate investors fail, is because of what they intend and how they intend it.
Hmm.
Now, this may seem too simplistic, but I promise it is not simple. By the way, here's my definition of intend.
Mm-hmm.
To design for a specific use or future. To design for a specific use or future. What does that mean to you, real quick?
Well, design would be to plan out something. You see something that you want to happen and you figure, well, I'll do this, I'll do that, or at least want it. But the design is more the plan of how you might go about it to achieve it.
Okay, so to me, design means something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let me look it up, make sure that I don't have to. So me, design is a little bit more permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Like along the lines of you see something there. I mean, my normal understanding of intend means you want something to happen, and you may not know how you're going to get there or why or whatever the details are, but I want to marry that girl. I want to have a big successful business. I want to go on vacation. Like, I want to get a new car. I want a new car. Then everything happens from that point, like how, when, where, the details. But that design you have in your mind should be pulling you ahead, even when you hit barriers. Like, no, I want the new car, damn it.
I'm glad you're saying this because you keep saying things like desire and wannabe and could have and maybe it will and should have.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
design, a plan or drawing produced to show the look and function or workings of a building, garment, or other object before it is built or made.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we designed a building on speculation, like maybe we should have 15 stories.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can't do
I wish it was 2.5 feet deep. I wish it was, this. What would happen?
that. I think you'd have a building that's 100 feet on one side and 107 feet on the other side, and I
Or
don't think it
or
would
or more
work.
importantly, as you're building it, it would be very expensive because as you're doing things, you keep changing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna make a 4-story building, and then you start building it. You know what? Let's make it 10 stories.
Mhm.
Well, a 10-story building is a whole different foundation than a 4-story building,
Yeah.
right? So to me, design is a very specific, like, this is the way it is, and I expect the outcome to be that way, no variations.
Hmm.
Now, doesn't mean that when you're building a building, there isn't going to be things you're going to figure out along the way.
Mhm.
Like, maybe when we dig in the ground, there's water there and we have to pump water out. Well, we weren't expecting that, but it doesn't change your outcome because you're going
Mhm.
to deal with the water to get the end result of that building.
Sure.
So it's very, very important to understand this because you have to have total certainty that you are going to get what you want, and that's intend.
Mm.
If I intend to go to Florida from Connecticut in my car in 24 hours, that means it doesn't matter about traffic, it doesn't matter about gas or food or anything. I totally, absolutely have to be there in 24 hours. And I'm going to deal with every and any obstacle to get there.
Mm.
Matter of fact, the obstacles are part of what I intended. Now, I don't want to get off on a whole thing here because I'm already spending too much time on this. I didn't know I needed to do this, but I'm glad that I am.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something to you, and we could talk about this later if you so desire. But happiness is an emotion. Did you know that?
No.
So when we say happiness is overcoming unknown obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
it's really the happiness is really the emotion of interest.
Okay.
So you have to be interested first. Interest
that would make sense.
interest means that you have to work, you have to have a desire, a strong desire, a passionate desire. And interest leads into intention.
Mm.
Like you start off with interest in real estate and then you intend to do it. Well, I'm not telling anybody to do this because this is the wrong thing, but I have coached students, which is why I'm telling you not to do it. Their intention is so high, they quit their job and they put pressure on themselves to do deals.
Ooh.
Now there's another end of that, which is which is neediness and must have and all that kind of stuff, which holds you back. So if your intention is that strong and you're like, I have to have this, you will scare away the deals. When
Yeah.
you're talking to sellers, you will scare them away.
Mm-hmm.
So intend is a very specific destiny. It is what your attention is fully directed to all the time. It's a bit obsessive. You have a fixed mind, not a fixed idea. You have a fixed mind, a focused mind, a very clear mind to have something and to never give up.
Mm.
And I could tell you the people that are not buying deals don't have this. They're letting life push them around. They're letting, taking care of their parents, right? That's right. So they have people like telling that life is pushing them around. Their job is in the way. Their parents, because they got to, they're older. They got to take care of their parents. They have older parents. They have children. They have all kinds. They get ill, right? All these things are barriers or tests of your intention. It's testing your intention. So if you wake up, and I'm not talking about you, Peter, but if you wake up one morning and you're ill, and you're all of a sudden you're ill for 2 days, and you have a deadline, and it's supposed to be like by Friday, and you get ill on Tuesday and Wednesday, it is a test of that intention.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you really want that attention? What are you going to do to handle the sickness so you can have it by Friday?
Mm.
I mean, this is vital. It seems like it's simple, but this is vital. And the ones that make it are the ones that handle what I'm talking about right now. It is an internal thing. It is intention. You're promising yourself to have it and no exceptions. None. And where I lose most with this is my loyalty to the promise to me and to others. You go into a group and you say, I promise I'm going to be the marketing guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? You need to be the marketing guy. It doesn't matter whether your kids are having a birthday party during an event on Saturday when you're supposed to be doing marketing. You have a big marketing event and your company has an event on Saturday and your kid's birthday party is then.
Yeah.
You have to handle your kid's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can we do it earlier? Can we do it later? Can we do it tomorrow?
Mm.
Right? Your intention needs to be in. And after all these years, I found many, almost every person that I have met breaks this promise to themselves and they give up too quick. Or start to invent unworkable or unusual solutions and alter their intention and not realize it's just being tested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
So Sam says, go ahead. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Great. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Something's have something blocking my. Okay. So great content and channel. What is one way to not overspeak when assessing the strength and reliability of a real estate agent talk with a client?
Okay. So like I said before, that's a bit out of context with this podcast, but you're not going to have to worry about realtors too much longer because they have a big lawsuit going on and they're losing their credibility. So the quickest answer I'm going to give you, Sam, is when I'm talking to a seller and they bring up a realtor, All I say to them is just this simple. Well, I don't understand. I'm a bit confused, actually. A realtor is going to go find you a buyer, and I'm the buyer. I'm standing right here, right now. So why would you want to go get a realtor? I'm the buyer. So what part of my deal don't you like?
Mm.
Because I'm a buyer. I'm as serious as a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I handle it. So hopefully I've handled that. Okay. Back to the podcast. All right. So now we're going to move on. I had enough of I spent too much, 25 minutes doing that. I spent too much time doing that. So here's what happens. Peter, you taught me this.
No.
Yes.
What?
Most people that come in this industry want money.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had a little skit that you were doing in a while, which I don't think we have time for right now, but it's like you come into the business needing money, wanting money, but you need money to do a deal. It's like backwards, right? So in this industry, you don't need money. Matter of fact, creative real estate is made to take money out of it, not put money into it, because
Mm-hmm.
the money's already in the deal with the seller. So don't get confused about that. And creative real estate is all about controlling the documents and controlling the ownership of the house,
Mm-hmm.
not actually dealing with the house, just
Mm-hmm.
the ownership, right? And Nelson Rockefeller said the way to be wealthy or build wealth and control it is to own nothing and control everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was right. So most come in this business and they want money in this industry or profit, but actually skip the main step that gets it. They skip the main step that gets them money. And it's taken me 399 podcasts to actually verbalize this in a sentence.
Okay.
They
So what?
skip what gets them the money.
Yeah.
What gets you money is a valuable product that's completed that is exchangeable.
Mm.
So a product that is needed and wanted can be exchanged for money.
Mm.
So Sam says, yes, life can push you around daily, but focusing and completing a task is a good thing as long as effort is communicated. Yes, sir. I agree. So to get money, you have to have something. So in other words, if I'm a car dealership, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do I get money from you?
Well, you'd have to have a car that I want.
And yeah, but it has to be what kind of car?
Well, it's got to be a functioning car that fits my needs, my desires, my color, or whatever.
Right.
You
So
know,
suppose
whatever.
you had a family with 6 kids in it and
Yeah.
2 dogs, and I have a Volkswagen Beetle.
Nope.
Okay. So
Nope.
what if I had a big Suburban that had 3 rows of seats?
3 rows of seats, and it's a great price, and it's in good shape, and the tires are nice. It doesn't smell bad. I'll
You
take
see,
it.
so not all products are equal. So you have to have the right product for the right person.
So you have to find out what the
In
person.
real estate, so what we make a mistake in, see, a lot of people get confused when they first come into real estate. They think it all has to do with real estate. What I just told you a few minutes ago is the key point for most when they actually get it. The key point is creative real estate has to do with controlling the property. That's done with paperwork. That's done with like lease options and option agreements and subject twos, taking over mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
Has nothing to do with the house and the money. The house and the money is already there. You're just leveraging what house and what money is already there. So you don't need to go learn about all that stuff. It's already there. The
Mm.
house and the seller are already there, or the money is already. I mean, the house and the money are already there. What you need to do is you need to study your seller, because your seller changing their mind and allowing you to leverage the house and the money that's there already is what makes you successful as a creative real estate investor.
Mm.
right?
Right.
I know some are probably stopped listening right now. They wanted me to give them some special gadget where they could like go buy a house today, right? Some
Yeah.
push button thing, which by
Yeah.
the
But
way, we do have that. It's called creativereireply.com.
mhm.
We have a push button software system that will not only get you deals, but it'll do all the paperwork for you. It has AI, it answers texts, all that stuff, right? But what I'm telling you is that the way you get money is to have a valuable final product of helping the seller figure out what is needed and wanted for them to let you control their house and their
Mhm.
finances or the finances of the house.
Yep.
So the best thing you can do, and I have preached this for years, I've made products. I had a product one time that I called the reluctant buyer, and it was the worst product I ever made. I sold the least amount of it's the it crashed and burned, and it's sad to me because it is the best thing that I ever created for creative real estate, but it's not sexy enough, so people don't listen to me or listen to it. Because the best thing that you can do is study your seller because your seller is the gateway to your profits. Your seller is a gateway to your financial freedom. Your seller is the one that's going to give you what you need and want to become financially free because they already have it. They have a house and they have the finances already invested in the house. And what you need to do is show them the benefits
Mm.
of what they're going to get by letting you control the property. It's almost as if we're glorified property managers, and we go in and we have it like it's kind of like a business that's failing. What is the name of that TV show? Bar Rescue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the guy goes in. This person has a bar, like a drinking bar, where there's alcohol
Mhm.
and food. They go into a bar. He goes into the bar, and he's like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah,
Oh
rah."
yeah.
Then,
He's an. I can't watch him sometimes. He's just so annoying. But he
but the
does a good
point
job.
is that he goes in and he takes the same bar, the same staff, the same food, the same alcohol, everything that's in place already, and turns it around so it's a profit.
Yep.
That is no different than what we are doing for creative real estate. We're taking the same house, the same money, the same seller, and we're turning it around so they make money or get what they want from
Mm.
the house. Same
Funny
scenario.
analogy. Yeah. It's true. It's a good analogy, really. And they don't. They have a situation, and they just don't know what to do about it.
That's exactly right.
And a realtor can't help them with it,
That's
and their
right.
lawyer can't
Because
help them with it.
the realtor only gives them money, and money doesn't fix everything.
No, because there's a
Believe it or
price
not.
for that, and also there's a price for that money.
Yeah. Well, there's timing. Timing is the thing that the realtor can't fix.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here is the way to get your first deal or any deal for that fact. You first of all have to let your seller know why you are the most qualified buyer they can find,
Hmm.
right? And I know there's volumes of books that have been written on this topic, but I have a secret sauce that I have never read in any book before.
Hmm.
Here it is. You're the most capable and qualified person to help that seller. Simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So, what makes somebody qualified? Well, I'm not going to skip ahead. So, here it is.
Yeah.
You are most capable and qualified to help the person you used to be.
Wait, say that again.
Yeah. So what makes you qualified? What makes me qualified to help you guys?
Oh, because you've been there,
Because I
done that.
used to be you guys.
Yeah, been
So it
there,
makes
done
me
that.
qualified. It makes me
But
qualified, and it makes me the most capable and qualified to help you because I've been there.
yeah, you found out how to get out of the hole.
Yeah.
Many holes. You found out how to solve whatever comes up instead of giving up and saying it can't be done. Yeah, I watched Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol last night. It's an older Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. I'd never seen it. Oh, recorded it and checked it out. How many times is like, we can't do it because, we can't do it because, we can't do it because. And every time, the hero comes up with like, well, we'll have to do this then. And just does
Right.
not give up. And within the last 10 seconds, saves the world. But it's
Right.
like, just doesn't, well, I guess we can't. Never mind. I tried. It's not my fault. He just
That's
won't give
the
up.
that's the intention that I was talking about. That's the intent.
Yeah. Yeah. It's brutal. Sometimes it is extremely painful and you almost die. But
So
boy, when you win, it's
yeah,
good.
it's a big triumph. Yeah. So here's what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
You can't be the most capable and qualified person unless you intend to really help that person.
Hmm.
You intend to give them something valuable that they want to exchange for.
Mm-hmm.
Your product with them is you're going to help them leverage their house and their money to become more profitable than what they wanted before, either with money, time, or ease, or coaching them, whatever it may be. You're going to do all the things that the realtor system has a vacuum with. They have they can't do this. They don't know how
No,
to.
they,
Some
no, they don't
realtors
have.
can. Some realtors can. One out of probably 50 can,
Yeah.
but it's not something they teach in their system.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's dissect this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
This is the reason I prefer everyone to start off doing a slot deal or a rent to own.
Mm-hmm.
A slot deal is a sandwich lease option transfer. In other words, you're going to get a lease option from the seller, and you're going to wholesale it to your buyer for
Mm-hmm.
5% of the selling price. So 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. I've seen people do $100,000 commissions on $1 million house,
Mm-hmm.
right? In which, by the way, the bigger the prices of the house, the more money you make. So if you're in an area like, we'll say, Seattle, and the average house is 800,000, you're much better off than we are because you'll make 50, 60, 80,000 dollars on one deal in 30 days. Where in Connecticut, our average price will say is 300,000. In my town, it's about 300,000. So we're going to make 20 or 30 grand.
Better than it used to be, though.
Yeah.
Everything used to be 200. Now it's 300 and it's becoming 400.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I see the medians around 400. So just the unfortunate, nasty prices of houses has made this a little more lucrative, at least.
Right.
To help.
All right. So
to
let's
help
go
people.
backwards. Let's go backwards.
Yeah.
You're most capable and qualified to help the person you used to be. So if we're lease optioning from the seller and we're subleasing it to a buyer to make our money, then it makes it simple because now you have most likely in your past rented a house or an apartment, right? And know how to do this. You used to be that person because you had to rent the house from a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
So you used to be just like them, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, it's
now
a lease.
you
It's a
become
lease contract. It's nothing crazy. It's a lease contract.
yeah. All I'm telling you is you've already done this, and what I'm teaching you, so you know this 90% of this.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we got to address this because Bill, for a slot deal in a high-end market, what if the rent does not cover the mortgage payment? So we've done plenty of podcasts before that. I don't know, what does that say? Dubba diz?
Oh, that's Dubadizzo. I
Dubba
don't think
dizzo.
that's a
Yeah.
fun slang name.
So Here's what happens. I do not use rents. We're not renting anything. We are selling. We sell the house to our buyer and we allow them to pay us monthly until they get qualified for a mortgage. So that means I take the price of the house without the down payment removed from it, and I figure out what the current interest rate is, and I figure out how much they're going to need for a mortgage. If they were to go get a mortgage for that property
Hmm.
today, how much would that payment be? And that's what I use for my lease payment. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to set them up for loss. I don't want to have an $800,000 house with a $2,500 a month lease because that's what they're renting for, because there's a bunch of other idiots around that are willing to do that.
Mm.
I want it to be the mortgage amount because in 3 years from now, when the lease is up, I want them to get a mortgage. So if the normal payment is going to be, say, $4,500 or $4,300 and they're paying $2,500, are they going to be motivated to go get a mortgage? But if their mortgage payment is going to be $4,300 and I'm charging them $4,600, they're going to be motivated because their price will go down. Their monthly payment will go down.
Yeah.
Okay. So there
Hey,
you go.
I made a new word. I made up a new word for you, everybody. The payment is a pre-mortgage payment.
There you go.
See?
That's
Pre-mortgage.
excellent. Yeah.
Because it's going to be a mortgage. This is your pre-mortgage payment. So when the mortgage comes, you're ready for it.
We're going to use that, Peter. That's a great way to describe it.
Pre-mortgage. This is your
Okay,
pre-mortgage.
so let's keep moving because we're losing time here. Hopefully, I answered that. If not, send me a support ticket. So when you're doing rent owns or slot deals or stuff like that, you're just being the person you used to be because you've rented properties in the past, right? All right. I suggest if you haven't bought Creative REI Replay yet, or at least looked at it, and claim you don't have the money for the tools, because Creative REI Replay costs a couple bucks to get in, and it's a few $100s a month. It does 90% of the work for you. If for some reason you think you don't have the money, then I would suggest that maybe you really shouldn't. If you don't have a couple $1,000s to invest, I mean, if you were a realtor, Peter, you'd have to go get your realtor license, and it would be $2,000 to $4,000 to get started. Right? So if you don't even have that money or can figure that out, then I don't know what to tell you there. Maybe you think that you need to go make a deal to get that money.
But you don't know how to do the deal.
So that's what I'm going to show you. If you feel like you shouldn't spend the money, because I'm going to tell you right now, you think you need to make a deal so you can find the tools like this, then you'll need to do things the manual way at first. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now, the 7 steps.
Okay.
And then I'm going to come back to it. So I'm not going to buzz through these, but I'm not going to spend an absorbent amount of time on them because we could do multiple podcasts on each one of these things. And we have done multiple podcasts on these things.
Yep.
But for now, I just want you to understand that this is the pattern. This is the flow.
Sure.
First thing, number 1, most important, vital, crucial, do not go past this step. Understand what an option agreement is and how it works fully. Our entire system and understanding of how it works is important.
Sure.
AKA options in real estate are the same as in stock market. So the best way to, if you're going to research, go into, without getting into a whole bunch of days and days worth of research, you could do this within a half an hour. Type in how does an option work in
the stock market,
and then do it with real estate. Basically, an option is the right to purchase without the obligation. So you need to understand that fully. So make sure you understand how an option agreement works. Once you do that, I suggest you go into Facebook Marketplace is a great place to do this, except Facebook Marketplace doesn't have phone numbers. But what we would do is we would go into Facebook Marketplace. They're on the left-hand side. There's a link that says for rent. What I do, or what I have done, I don't because they kicked me off of Facebook, but what I had done, because I was selling houses and they thought that because I was advertising good credit, bad credit, no credit. They thought I was being discriminatory, and they kicked me off and won't let me back on. So yeah. So what I used to do and I have students that do this, is all you simply do is you don't look at the houses, you don't look at the values, you don't look at anything. You do not put your time in a deal or do any evaluation for a deal. Go look at a house. You do not evaluate a house, how much it's worth. You don't do anything until a seller tells you they're interested in either doing a monthly payment or giving you a substantial discount so you can go get private money.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Or make money. You have to have equity. Okay. So in Facebook, you're going to go in and you're just going to pick, you're not going to evaluate the houses at all. You're just going to you're just going to click on a house and you are going to message the owner or whoever has the house for sale and say, would you be willing to rent to me for a year or two and then sell? Or sell it to me? Would you be willing to rent for a year or two and then sell it to me?
And we're looking in the rental section.
We are in the rental section of Facebook Marketplace. And if you do this, I promise you, if you do this, if you do this 25 times a day. Now, I'm gross about this. I am absolutely gross about this.
Mhm.
Everybody sits on a toilet and takes a crap once a day, sometimes twice a day. We're all human. So bring your phone into the bathroom with you when you're on the toilet, and just all you do is type it in once. You type the message in once. Would you be willing to rent for a year or two and then sell it to me? And then copy it.
Mm.
And then go find 24 more houses and paste it. If you
Mm.
do 25 of these a day, I promise you by the end of the week, you will be talking to one or two people about this. It happens every time.
What's
Every
funny is
area, doesn't matter where it is.
people are on Facebook how many hours a day or minutes a day. So
Mhm.
instead of like looking at stuff and playing games and stuff on the phone, just take a few minutes and try to use it productively.
Right.
And you get to practice with people saying yes or no and see if you can find out a reason they would want to.
I
Practicing
told
you're
you
talking about,
earlier
right?
today, sorry for cutting you off. I told you earlier today, the most important thing that you can do to make money is study your seller, which is practice talking to them, find out what their objections are, find out what kind of moods they have, their emotional desires, find out what happens. You don't need to know anything about anything when it comes to renting. When you rent a house, you just need to know because here's the thing, when you sign an option agreement with someone, you have the rights, but not the obligation to purchase the property.
Mm.
So you're going to bring the house to the market, AKA put it on the internet and look for a buyer. And the buyer is going to tell you whether or not it's a good deal. If it's not a good deal, then you cancel your option with the seller and you say, well, I can't sell that house because
Mm.
either you change that or I'm out. It didn't cost you anything. You're not obligated. You're done. And if you do this enough times, which should not be more than a couple times, you will be practiced enough to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, find a motivated seller and tell them what you do. Okay, now, first of all, a motivated seller is someone that says yes more than no,
Mm.
and they're flexible. A motivated seller means someone that's willing to talk about monthly payments or a discount. A motivated seller is someone that says yes more than no. A motivated seller is willing to listen to you and your ideas and share their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Find a motivated seller, not a resistive seller, a motivated seller, and tell them that you do rent to owns. So here's what I do. I rent to own from you, and I'm going to find a buyer who normally wouldn't qualify for a bank loan, and I put them in the house and I help them get qualified for a bank loan so they can buy you off in the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, That just consists of having the buyer, when they get into the house,
Mhm.
go to a mortgage person, like an FHA person, get disqualified
Mhm.
with a list of things they need, and I turn them over to Bedrock Credit Repair in Danbury, Connecticut, Stephen,
Mhm.
and he does the work for us.
Mhm.
Number 4, use the offer check sheet in Grand Slam offer to talk to your seller and make an offer they feel foolish saying no to. Now, I've put this in an accelerator. It's got a calculator. It's got all the scripts. It's got everything there. It's not in today's podcast link. There is another link there for you to go look at Creative REO Replay, because Creative REO Replay does all this for you, and you should go watch the videos. You don't have to buy nothing. Just go watch the videos on the homepage so you see what it does.
Mhm.
But more importantly, if you don't have this or haven't seen this in other podcasts, just send a support ticket and I'll give it to you. The offer checklist is exactly that. It sets you up for a model offer, the exact way you should make an offer. And it's a list, and you go down the list and you check it off, and you check it off, and you check it off. It also includes the Grand Slam offer. It tells you when to go to a Grand Slam offer. So in that calculator, in that accelerator, not only do you get the offer checklist, you get both scripts that you would need. We only need one because one script is on the offer checklist. And you get a calculator for the Grand Slam offer. And when you watch the videos, which, by the way, in podcast number 398 is a video that I did that I've only put out twice to the public. So if you go to episode number 398 and you click on the link, you can watch the video. I didn't put it in today's podcast. Number 5, once they say yes, send them a memorandum. A memorandum is nothing more than a document that says, it's called a lease memorandum. Lease option memorandum is what it's called. Okay. Send them the document, and all the document is the 4 numbers you need to do a deal, which is the price they agreed upon, the monthly payment they agreed upon, the duration they agreed upon. In other words, how long they're willing to let the lease option go for. It should not be less than 3 years. And the down payment only if they bring it up or insist upon it. Otherwise, we don't talk about the down payment. So you can send this in a memorandum so you can go do some due diligence if you want. You shouldn't have to. Me, I'd rather just send them the option agreement and get right to it. So just fill out an option agreement. It takes about 5 minutes. You fill out an option agreement and you send it to them. Tell them to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if you don't know how to get an option agreement, you can go to eforms.com for your state and get one. And then if you're still concerned, you can go to legalshield.com for $25 a month. You can get a retainer for a lawyer or an attorney in your state, in your backyard. You could take the e-form option that you have and make an appointment with the lawyer for $25 and go over it with them and make sure it's possible for your state.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Texas, we don't use lease options in Texas. We use land contracts instead. It works exactly the same way, or an agreement for deed. They're both the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It works exactly the same way, except we use land contracts or agreement for deeds. And if you're in Texas, you'll understand what I just said. Number 6, use my in-house checklist. And again, if you don't have that, send me a support ticket, right? Use our in-house checklist only once you have a memorandum or an option agreement signed. You do no due diligence. You do not try to figure out the value of the house. You don't do comps. You do no due diligence. You don't even look at the house until you have something in writing and they've signed it. Because until then, they are suspects. They're wasting your time. They're time vampires. You're not to do any due diligence until you have an agreement written that they are willing to take payments. Oh no, let's back up. They've agreed on a price. They're
Mhm.
willing to take payments, and they told me how much the monthly payments are. They had told you the duration they're willing to go, and only if they bring up the deposit they want. And if you think you can do that deal, that's when you send them the paperwork to sign. That's when you start your due diligence. Otherwise, you are doing creative real estate backwards. Sitting at home studying houses on the internet is not a way to make money.
To me, the biggest difference is, like, if people say to me, "You want to come see the house?" Like, no, I'm not moving in. I'm not going to live there. I just want to know if it works for me, like from a business viewpoint. So for us, you're not moving in. Does it
Right.
work? Financially, makes you money, helps people. Other than
Right.
that, you're not moving in.
Okay. So I told you there were 7 steps. There's actually 8. I had mixed up the numbers. So we're on number 7 right now.
Mhm.
Now you need to find now that you have a contract, I have an option agreement with your seller.
Mhm.
You find a motivated rent to own buyer. Now this is literally 20 times easier
Mhm.
than finding a seller.
Mhm.
In other words, you can find 20 or 30 people that will do a rent to own person to every deal you get, for every
Yeah.
seller that will say yes.
Yep.
It's a much higher number. The way you're going to find this person, excuse me, is you're going to put an ad on Zillow, avail.co, that's AVAIL, avail.co, and apartments.com.
Mhm.
And it's going to say house for rent, no
Us-
bank. I'm sorry, it's going to say
Yeah.
house for sale, no
Yeah.
bank qualifying.
So even on apartments, because I haven't used that one yet, even on apartments, which people usually rent, but that's the kind of people we want to find, right? Because you're
Yep.
looking to rent, but like, oh, we can buy one instead, or rent and then buy. So it's a good public.
So you're going to put the rent number in apartments.com, and in the description you're going to put this house is not a standard rental. It is a rent to own.
Mhm.
Or I don't put rent to own. It is a purchase with no bank qualifying. Or I would put seller financing.
Right.
Okay. Honestly, if you just go on to Zillow and Avail.co, you're going to get enough people. Avail is a syndicator, and it puts it on about 12 different websites.
Mhm.
All right, so now we're in trouble because we're at 57 minutes and I still have 2 more pages of notes. So let's buzz through here.
Go.
When you get a person that sends you an application or sends you anything that they want it, you do a background check on them.
Mhm.
I do my background checks through apartments.com. All I do is I put the house that I'm going to sell in there, which, by the way, if you set up an account for your seller in apartments.com, you use their email address and put in a password. You can go in there and upload their house and actually set up an account for them because they can receive their payments through apartments.com.
Mhm.
Once you do the deal and you get paid and everything's done, you tell the seller to change their password and you no longer can get on the account.
Yeah.
Okay. But all the background checks and everything is done in apartments.com. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, number 8, don't stop looking for sellers once you have a deal.
Hmm.
Oh, back up to number 7. Number 7 is realize that you're going to get a lot of people looking at this property. Your ad should produce about 150 responses. It should produce between 20 and 30 people going through the house to get 3 to 5 deals, 3 to 5 people that are qualified.
Hmm.
The point is that all those people that are licking and tire kicking, you should save those people somewhere as your on your VIP list. Because now when you go to number 8 and you're still looking for sellers, you're going to say to your next seller, hey, I have 16 people, I have 80 people, I have 5,000 people, I have whatever that are looking for a house, and I can contact them right away because I
Mhm.
have a buyer's list. So that's impressive to a seller, and we'll get you more deals later on, right? But the reason why you do not stop your outflow for looking for sellers is because otherwise you'll end up with booms and depressions. In other words, you'll end up with a lot of income, no income, a lot of income, and it looks like it goes like this. It goes up and down, up and down. And the reason why is because a lot of people, when they find a deal, they stop promoting to sellers and they focus on the buyers and they forget about the sellers and they go find their buyer. And then all of a sudden, just by law of inertia, everything stopped because they weren't outflowing for their sellers and they stopped doing that.
Yep.
So don't do that. Okay. Make sure you put the sellers that don't buy from you in a follow-up system. I just told you that. So this way here, if you talk to your next, when you talk to your next seller, like I said, you're gonna say, hey, I've got 10, 20, 80, 8,000 people on a list, and I can promote to them right away.
It's actually very helpful because I've had people, the first thing is, hey, how about if we do a rent to own, lease with option? First thing some people have said, I've seen this lately, I've never seen it before, like, do you have a renter already? Like, geez, I don't even have the house yet.
Yeah.
But if you have the list, you could say yes. Because they're asking, do you have somebody? I just talked to you for 5 minutes, or I haven't even talked to you, and you're asking me if I'm done.
That means they've talked to other people like us and they're being educated, right?
Oh,
Okay. If you plan to do all this work manually, you'll buy 1 or 2 houses, maybe 5 to 10 per year, maybe on this manual system. You will not do this part-time. It will be a full-time gig for you because for you to do everything that I just spotted off in the 8 steps, it takes some work. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't. The deal doesn't take much work. Oh my goodness. The deal doesn't take much work, but finding sellers and dealing with buyers does.
Yeah.
Because finding sellers, you may have to talk to 100 people. You may talk to 3. I don't know your area. I don't know how hot your area is, how hot it isn't. So I don't know. I have coaching clients all over the country. I've got coaching clients that come to me every week. They got between my private coaching and creative REI reply coaching. I have people that come to me every week with 3 or 4 deals. I have some coaching clients that haven't come to me in 2 months with a deal because they need to call more people. The difference between me talking to a seller and you unexperienced talking to a seller is I will be able to convert some of them because I have a lot of experience. I've talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of sellers. In the beginning, you don't need that experience. You just need to keep fishing for that motivated seller that just says yes, 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 yes. Doesn't say no. And when you find that seller, then you are golden. Now, problem is when you do this manually and you think that your time is not valuable because you think your time is less valuable than your money, which is backwards, right? Because time makes money. You're going to get stuck because it's going to be a long runway to get the plane off the ground. And you're probably, and life is going to come in and your intention is going to get kicked around. And your motivation is going to get squashed and your passion is going to be made fun of by the physical universe. Things are going to happen. Houses are going to burn. Cars are going to crash. Family members are going to die. I'm telling you, when you have a long runway, these things happen. Kids are going to get sick. School is going to shut down. Hell, COVID's going to come along and shut the country down.
Yeah.
Okay? Anything is possible if you wait too long. Time kills everything. Okay? But let's just break this down in the last couple minutes. Let's say you make $25,000.
Okay.
Okay? On a deal. One deal. You found one deal and made $25,000. If you spent 160 hours, we'll say 1 month to do that deal, right? You're making $156.25 a deal, an hour.
Okay.
If you had a $25,000 deal, that means you made $156.25 an hour. Now, some people may be like, oh, that's a lot of money. Maybe.
Right. If it's in a month, but that's working 40 hours a week, which people wouldn't do. It would take them 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get there. Now, it doesn't look as good, right? I mean, it's not terrible, but That doesn't replace your job much now, does it?
No, because it does. It's not going to. You're not going to be able to do it from 9 until 6,
Mm-hmm.
like a regular job, or 9 to 5, like a regular job.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, you should be making a whole lot more money than $156 an hour. If you cut that in half and say it took you 80 hours, now you're making $312.50 an hour.
Gotcha. Yeah.
If it took you 40 hours, you'd be making $625 an hour.
That's starting to sound good.
If you did it in 20 hours, you'd make $1,250.
Whoa.
If you did it in 10 hours, you'd be making $2,500 an hour. You see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
So you either spend a few $1,000s to automate and make more deals quicker and make $2,500 an hour because you have software that does the automation for you, right? It does 90% of the work for you, or you do it manually. So how valuable does that software become now if it can give you your life back? Because I think part of what we're talking to right now is a person that wants freedom. They want their time back and money. They don't want just money. They want their time and money. So if you're just swapping jobs and working 160 hours to make $156 an hour, yeah, you might be making more money than what you're making now, but you're still not free. You still can't take your afternoons off to go play with the kids.
Yep.
You can't go on vacation for a week because it'll stop.
Right.
Right? So when you're doing it manually, you still miss everything. Or you might miss one of the steps and do it incorrectly. You may let a follow-up lead may fall through the cracks, and you'll lose a deal.
Yep.
And it's not efficient. Most that I meet that are doing it manually are usually doing it wrong, doing the wrong work anyways. They're trying to organize their data so they can keep track, like their lists and their buying, like their list of sellers and their buying list, and they're trying to keep track of who to follow up and when, and they spend all their time just obsessively organizing so they don't have a deal fall through the cracks. And that stuff does not make you $2,500 an hour. Right?
It's like shuffling papers.
Right. They never get around to the most important part and the biggest moneymaker, which is talking to the seller.
Yeah, but that might be why they're doing all the paperwork, so they don't have to.
Right.
You feel like you're working, but I mean, it's easier to look at lists than actually talk to somebody for most people.
Right. It's a confront issue. But if you do the things that I talk about today, mostly intend, like really intend, and really get you sorted out, realize that your valuable final product or the valuable thing that you are selling that is complete and actually doable is your assistance with the seller to show them how to leverage the money they have in the house and how to use the house to get them what they want. Sometimes it's more money, which, by the way, get them what they want. There's only two choices: need or greed. So help them get their greed or help them get what they need. Like, I want this house off my back.
Yep.
Okay, so we're 8 minutes past the hour. I'm sorry I took all of your time today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please make sure you leave us, like us. Actually, first subscribe to us wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Make sure you like us. Like us on whatever platform you're on, and please leave us a review. Also, if you have any questions about what we went through today, you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, which, by the way, on the top right-hand side, there's a support link, but there's also a page there that says free stuff. And there's about 26 or 28 things that you can get that are creative real estate tools for free. So you should go check it out. Thank you for listening. And Peter.
What?
Next podcast is 400.
Oh, man.
I promised I was going to stop the podcast at 400, but I haven't done that yet. Over and out, guys. Have a good week. Flourish and prosper. Thank you.